Welcome to 31 Days of Horror. We're on day 30. Day 30. We're doing a top 20 of all the horror films I've watched this season. Day 29, we did 20 to 11. So day 30, we're doing 10, you guessed it, to number 1. Just a reminder, these are just the movies I watched in this time frame that I reviewed. That's all that's going to be considered, as well as what's going to be considered how I watched it, where I watched it. Some of these are my first time. Some of these are my first time in a new experience. So I'm giving each movie 30 seconds. I have a timer to just send some horror love its way and why it's where it's at. Let's get going. I'm ready. We're on to number 10. Number 10, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In three, two, one. I've seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre many times. This was reviewed this season because I watched it my first time in the movie theaters and with a bunch of people. Well, not a bunch, but with people in a theater for the first time in its 50th anniversary. So that's why it's on this list because of that, as well as it would be higher. But I want to give some more love to other things. This is about my experience, and it was fun to go back and watch it for the first time in a movie theater. And it's classic, always going to be there in the horror franchises. Horror. Number 9, staying with the gruesome, Terrifier 3. In three, two, one. Now, I love Art the Clown, and I'm so happy I started watching the Terrifiers. I was afraid to. I'm glad that I saw this one in the movie theater because I didn't see Terrifier 2 in the theater. But I just wanted some more Rampage, believe it or not, in with that more Christmas Rampage. Yeah, I feel like they did a few stuff, and the ending felt a bit rushed, and they didn't really stick it. So it's lower. It's on the 9. I'm loving Terrifiers, but it's not that higher. That's why it's not that much higher than 8, the 9. Number 8, Oddity. Three, two, one. Oddity is so good, so well crafted, so well done. It is more of an artistic kind of horror, so that's not your thing. Fine. Um, just loved a few bit more than it because I did love Oddity. It was one of the first ones I watched this season, and I'm so glad I did. It got me into the Halloween spirit. It's spooky, but not necessarily scary. Yeah, but it's got a great monster, and there's a lot of psychological scares, inner psychological demons and things of that nature. So good film. Say number 7, Hell House LLC. Three, two, one. It's my first time seeing this film, and it's almost 10 years old, or maybe it is 10 years old. But I just had so much fun watching this. It's such a fun found footage film. I think that they do a really great job at it. And the haunted house was so scary on its own, and then the things that are inside the Hell House, in the haunted house, so great. If you haven't seen this film, it's a fun Halloween watch. I suggest it. I recommend it. Um, and this is only found footage shaky camera stuff, but they've got a lot of good scares in it. Memorable. I'll watch it every Halloween season for sure. Number 6, from the television series. And I watched season 1 and season 2 for the first time, and then started season 3. So let's go. Three, two, one. I've got a new favorite show I like to watch. I think everyone should watch the show. I don't think it's made just for horror people. Sure, the zombie-esque people that kill people, it's really grotesque and it's really gory, but it feels like it's like The Walking Dead meets Lost. So if that's your cup of tea, please watch it. It gets better and better, and the lead Harold is so good. He plays Boyd, and it's just scary but also thought-provoking. Also, where are these people? They're in the middle of nowhere. What is it? Questions like that, big life questions. I suggest it. Number 5, Speak No Evil 2022, not the 24 version. Three, two, one. Now, many people might not think this is a horror film, but I watched it during my horror event, horror, the 31 Days of Horror, and it's horrific to me. That freaking ending, even just the lead up to it, the character building, the character driven stuff, it was still horrific. I was scared for them. That ending will stick with me. It changed me. It gutted me. It made me have trust issues with people. It did all the things it wanted to do and more, and it was surprising and gut wrenching and horrific. So it's horror. It's 5. Number 4, Terrifier 2. So I saw Terrifier 3 and I saw Terrifier 2 for the first time within this 31 days. Three, two, one. Terrifier 2, I did not want to see for so long because I hate gore for gore's sake. And then I just forced myself for this. I'm glad I forced myself. I immediately went and saw Terrifier 3 after seeing Terrifier 2. It's just camp. Art the Clown is such a great new villain. It's not to be taken serious. Obviously, the things that he does to them, these people, is not real and is intentionally not real. And it is just pure, gruesome, terrible, terrifying camp. And the lead, Sienna, such a good addition to the last girls, final girls. Number 3, Strange Darling. I don't want to waste my time in the 30 seconds to say all this, so I'm going to say it before. But I watched it during my 31 days of horror. It was put in a genre of horror. So if you think it's not horror, I beg to differ. I think that it's not, doesn't go with like monsters or slashers really, or goblins or ghouls or witches or any of that kind of horror. But there is a serial killer. So I think it falls under horror before we get started. And it's 3, 3, 2, 1. Y'all, this is number 3. I can't even believe what movie 2 and 1 because this film is so freaking good. The acting, the writing, the directing. I really hope it gets the awards love so that it can get into a wider audience because people should see this film. It is horrific. It's got twists, it turns. It's very Tarantino and its non-linearness. Like it's done in chapters. And it reveals and tells its story so beautifully. And the acting, again, so good. And oh, I can't wait to watch it again. I think that everyone should see this. Strange Darling 3. Number 2, When Evil Lurks in 2023. So it was last year, but my first time seeing. 3, 2, 1. I got one of my new favorites. I will watch every Halloween season. This film affected me. It was scary. It was unrelenting. It just was go, 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 as well as being able to still be character building, world building. It stays within the confines of its world, so we don't really get much about this possession of evil. And I'm not even a possession boy, but I like this idea of possession and the evil following them. It's also got a lot to do with our own traumas, and trauma follows you. You can't run from it. And so, great allegories. So well done. Get over subtitles. Watch it. It's in Spanish, so if that's not your gig to watch subtitles, to read subtitles, get over it. Do it. It's worth it. Number 1, and before I tell you number 1, I'm giving this girl a whole minute. I'm giving this one a whole minute. I'm giving this horror a whole minute. It deserves at least a minute, at the very least. The others get 30 seconds. It gets a minute. Number 1 of my 31 days of horror. Watched a bunch of films, reviewed them for you for my first time or in the first time kind of way. And this one out of the top 20 is my number 1 for you. Number 1, The Substance. Let's do this one. In 3, 2, 1. Okay. I love this film. I'm one of those people. And if you don't get it, I get it. I understand. I fully understand. I was not with it at first. And then it takes its turn. And I'm like, oh, this is a different kind of horror. This has such great like homages to things, has a great acting, well done on the premise. It's obscure and big and huge and the best kind of campy ways. You think you're watching this like award season kind of film, and then it's like, yes, it should be that. But it's going to play with your ideas of beauty standards, your ideas of like what is beautiful, what isn't beautiful, what is worthy, what isn't worthy, as well as the monster of it all. I love the monster of it all, and it's just already iconic. The clothes, the settings, the everything. It's just iconic now. So The Substance is my number 1 for this season. I hope you enjoyed that. I love a countdown. I love a top 20. I love to see how people rank things. I don't take it too seriously. I hope you didn't take that too seriously. This is all just for fun and the love of the horror I've watched this year. Sad that it's ending. It's 31 days, but the horror can live on with us throughout the year. I'm very grateful for these films that got me out of my funk, that brought me back out into the world to socialize again. The scary horror of it all really saved me. So I'm very grateful to these 20 films, as well as the others that didn't make the list, that I hope you've enjoyed this ride. And I've got one last day, one last surprise for you on the 31st. Happy Halloween.